Hi, my name is Cass and welcome to my channel. Fall is upon us, and by fall is upon us, it is still 85 degrees outside and I'm wearing a tank top and shorts every single day because I'm sweating so much otherwise. But in my head and in the books that I am reading, it is now fall. So today I'm going to be giving you 15 fantasy book recs that are perfect for fall and you should be adding to your fall TBR. 10 of them I have read and I really feel like they give the fall vibes. 5 of them I have not, but they are on my fall TBR. So if they are fall in vibes, I don't know yet because I haven't read them, but I'm going to be reading them this fall, so I'm going to count them in this fall TBR stack of books that I'm recommending to you. When it comes to fall books and what I consider to be a fall vibe, I think it's more of the dark atmospheric. So I'm reading a lot more dark academia, I'm reading more eerie and gothic, grim dark. Those are the vibes and just what I'm looking for in a book. It doesn't necessarily need to be fantasy, it doesn't necessarily need to be dark academia, but I feel like those books just fit more. Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wong. This follows along Siona, who is determined to become the first ever woman high mage. She wants to get accepted into the university, be able to study magic, and she ends up passing her qualifying exams, but her colleagues refuse to make her feel welcome, and instead of giving her a true qualified lab assistant, they give her a janitor. Even though a janitor is now her lab assistant, she is not going to let that stop her. But her janitor was more than just a janitor. He actually was a nomadic hunter that ended up losing his family on his journey from the wild plains into the city. Slowly, as the two develop a friendship and they also develop a working relationship, they begin to uncover secrets that are going to turn the entire society and the entire world up on its head. This book is a dark academia. It has a magic system which is so unique at its core, but it also covers so much when you look at the themes. You were talking about colonialism, genocide, religious dogma, sexism, and it was just done so well because Emma Wong knows how to take a topic and she's going to face it head on. She's not going to turn away. She's going to tell you what it actually is, what you are seeing, and you're going to see the good, the bad, and truly the ugly. When it comes to these characters, I love them because you are going to see their strengths, their weaknesses, and hope for goodness sake that they know how to become a better person, or if they are just going to let society rule them and conform to what society expects of them. And Siona is a great example of that. She is a determined woman, but when reality and the truth actually comes spilling out at her feet, she doesn't accept it. She doesn't want to accept it. And she is going to let society's rules, regulations, and everything that is ever taught her guide her. And I just loved to watch her character arc. I thought it was immaculate, but I also just loved the way that Emma Wong created her character because you had somebody that you were rooting for, fighting for, and then it gets all turned on your head and you're like, I don't know if I actually support you anymore. I really loved the magic system and the spellograph and how it is used and how you actually have to study to be able to use it. I just thought it was very unique and just like the different processes that goes into creating magic in this world. But I also loved the world building and the layers and the politics that are involved as well. It just really added to the overall joy but also pain that this book brings you. The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Sybil is a diviner. She gave up a decade of her life to serve in a great cathedral where she no longer dreams. Instead, she has visions and predicts the future with them. Slowly, her decade of service is coming up, but those that she was also a diviner with slowly go missing one by one. She ends up befriending unintentionally and doesn't really want to a knight, and they are determined to figure out where these other diviners are going and what's actually happening and what is the secret of the cathedral and of this world and this magic. She goes on an adventure to learn these secrets and in turn ends up learning secrets about herself as well. Rachel Gillig created an eerie, atmospheric, and gothic feel when it came to these pages. You have one of the best companions, Bartholomew, who is a gargoyle. He is so funny, but he is also so heartwarming. Your heart is just going to burst at the witty and wacky things that he says, but also just how much he really cares about Sybil and honestly would give everything up to be able to protect her. I loved the eerie world and the fact that Rachel Gillig actually built a world this time. Whereas in One Dark Window in the Shepherd King duology, you only had a very little world. Here in the Stonewater Kingdom, you actually got the chance to explore, and you get to meet other characters and other villages and see how where Sybil is living in the cathedral has really dictated and guided so much of the rest of this world. It's a medium-paced book. You are enthralled, no doubt about it, but you still have the ability to look around at what else is happening in the book while still be very invested in the story. There is a romance subplot, but that does not take away from the overarching plot, and I really love a romance subplot, and this romance was the perfect subplot. You're looking at faith, you are looking at love, you are looking at self-preservation, but also self-identity. There's so much that goes on within these pages. You cannot help but fall in love with Rachel Gillig's writing and also the characters that she creates. The Everlasting by Alex the Hero. If you loved The Six Deaths of a Saint by her and you wish that there was more, this is the more that you have been waiting for and have been wanting. You're following along Owen Mallory, who is a failed soldier and a somewhat successful scholar, and his obsession and love for the story of Una Everlasting, the legend that has helped build the Dominion Empire. Una was a lady knight who served her kingdom and ended up giving her life up for her queen. She was a legend. She achieved so much in the sake of creating and helping Dominion be successful. And Owen is obsessed with her and is willing to do anything, everything, and span time in an attempt to make sure that she is able to succeed, but also ends up realizing that what was success and what is the story of Una isn't actually the story of her, but is a tale that has been woven and been created to adjust to others and what they are looking for. Now Una and Owen want to rewrite history in a way that they're both able to live happily ever after, but it'll take a lot more than love to be able to achieve that. This book was exquisite. It was rich when it came to the world building. It was rich when it came to the characters. And it is a world that you want to dive in and never leave. It is lyrical, it is lush, it is poignant, and it was just transformative. You are searching and traveling through time as you are watching different battles and different scenes weave together. You are constantly in a time loop that is never ending, but you can't help but love and look at the little changes about how these characters are evolving as time continues to pass and the clock keeps getting set backwards again and again. It's genre bending, as you are going to see fantasy, but you're also going to have sci-fi elements when it comes to time travel. It was just beautifully, utterly, perfectly written, created, everything about it. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This follows along 3 separate women and 3 separate time periods as their individual stories slowly begin to weave together. It is a raw look at what love is, what hunger is, and how love eventually can become hunger and can become all-consuming, and it is a force to be reckoned with, and sometimes people don't know when to stop and are willing to destroy others in the thought that they are protecting themselves and protecting each other, but in reality they are doing nothing but destroying everything that they love. I love how vividly lyrical V.E. Schwab writes, and it feels like a poem. You can feel the love that she has for each and every single character, and you can also feel the love that she has towards her readers and the love that she has towards herself. She is putting part of her soul into this book and creating such a beautiful narrative. Yes, it is slower paced, but I promise you that is the best part about it, because you get the chance to dive in and really see and discover all the little details that you would miss if it was going any faster. I've read this book twice already this year. It is easily one of my favorites, and it is just one of the best, most perfect examples of love, hunger, rage, being a woman, and just having everything you can have but nothing at all. Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. This follows along Alice and Peter, 2 students at Cambridge studying magic, as they decide that they need to descend into hell in an attempt to retrieve the soul of their professor, Jacob Grimes, at the cost of their own, because they need recommendation letters to graduate. R.F. Kuang is a mastermind. She has rich, beautiful, deep and dense world building, and you're going to see that it is very apparent in these pages. I've been seeing very polarizing reviews regarding this book. Some people absolutely love it and some people absolutely hate it. I enjoyed it. It was not my favorite by far in terms of all of her books that she's ever written, but it was still enjoyable. It had very great prose when it comes to the world building, when it comes to the characters. I really liked Alice and how unlikable she is, and the journey that you get to see as she begins to realize that there's more to academics and there's also more to her than just academia. And when it comes to the world building, I loved the layers of hell and just how detailed they really were. You were seeing that hell is a reflection of each person, and their hell is going to be seeped in academics, and you're going to see a campus, you're going to see a library, and I really liked how you saw that reflection of a person in their own personal hell. On the flip side, made it less enjoyable was the fact that magic wasn't explained in this. I know that R.F. Kuang has said multiple times that she likes to leave it ambiguous, and she enjoys that aspect of leaving the magic system that way, but I think it really hindered this book, at least in my own opinion, because the magic system wasn't explained. You were having these flashback scenes where they talk about magic, but they never explained it in relation to the world. It was told, but never explicitly told. And there was also a lot of telling rather than letting you get the chance to see when it came to the paradoxes and the laws, and it prevented me from being able to connect with the story. It felt very jarring and choppy and like regurgitation, even though I know that's not what she was intending to do. I still think this was a great book, and I think that a lot of people are going to enjoy it, but it is a dense read. It doesn't read like an academic text as though like some people are saying it does. I just don't think it was overall my favorite, but it's still a book that I would highly recommend to others. Alchemised by Senlin Yu. This is a dark fantasy debut, and it was perfect. This is actually probably my most anticipated read of the entire year, and it was flawless. It follows along Helen Moreno, who was a promising alchemist, but is now a prisoner of both a war and her mind. She was part of the Order of the Eternal Flame, but now every single member has passed, and she does not remember anything leading up to the final battle where everybody ended up perishing. Kane Farron is now tasked with trying to revive her memories and figuring out what deep secrets she is trying to hide and how she managed to hide them in the first place. It really asks you, what is the cost and how far are you willing to go to keep your secrets, to keep your identity, but also what happens if you've lost all of that part of you? Who are you? What parts of you are remaining? It is very dense when it comes to the world building, just because you need this world to be created, and we are seeing the aftermaths of the wars. What is the war about? Why is the war happening? And you're going to be looking at the politics behind it. But it is also a character study at its core, and the character study and the character arcs are otherworldly. You're going to be seeing two sides fighting against each other when it comes to the world that you're reading about, but it also when it comes just to the way the story is being written, and you are going to love every single second of it. And I will say you are going to need tissues for it, because the last bit of this book is one of the most heartbreaking things that you have ever and will ever read. The Isle in the Silver Sea by Tasha Suri. This is a story about stories, an island where stories live and thrive, and there are people that are called the incarnates that are part of these stories, and they are meant to fulfill the story that has been created for them. And the queen is in charge and tries to gather and make sure that everybody is fulfilling their specific purpose. And there are two women, a lady knight and a witch, whose love story has been told for generations. They are meant to fall in love and then end up falling apart and kill each other in the end. But they decide that that's not what they want to do. They want to change the story. This book was a beautiful work of art. It was a queer sapphic love story, and I loved the story that was being told, but I also really loved how witty and cunning these characters were as well, because I wasn't expecting the humor that you were going to find in it, and I enjoyed that aspect, having this darker aspect, but also having this light and the ability to laugh at certain times. It was a quick read, even though this is not exactly thicker, but it's still 480 pages, but I read it nearly in one sitting. I was addicted to it and I didn't want it to end. The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is a Watson and Holmes fantasy cozy mystery, yet not quite as cozy, but still cozy mystery, and it was so much fun. Anna is a detective known for her brilliance, but also her eccentricities, and the fact that she is known for being able to solve cases without ever leaving the inside of her house. Her new assistant, Din, is magically altered and is the perfect aid for Anna. Even though he is infuriated by the way that Anna acts, he realizes just how brilliant she is, as they are tasked to figure out how this Imperial officer was killed when a tree erupted from his abdomen. There were so many twists and turns, and the mystery itself was great, but the part I loved the most was Anna and Din, and the way that they were so opposites, but I really loved how they were foils for each other. Just watching the way that Anna reacts and just acts in general, she is so odd, but I mean it in the best way possible. When it came to things that I enjoyed about this book, I really loved the characters. I liked the mystery. Even though there was fantasy aspects to it, they were not the most important part of the story. A Drop of Corruption, which is the second book, did come out earlier this year, and I do plan on reading it at some point by the end of the year. I'm hoping to get it into my fall cozy TBR, but you at least have the first two books. Red City by Marie Lu. This also comes out in October. It follows along Sam and Ari, two high school friends that are in opposing syndicates that are barely hanging on by a thread, as they are both trying to become the controller of alchemy, the form of transformation that is the magic system in this world. Ari and Sam don't realize that the other is in the opposing syndicate, which makes the tension and the turmoil even better. But you're going to be looking at this book and realizing that ambition is not everything, that friendship might be the best thing, but it could also be the worst thing too. And how far is somebody willing to go to be in control and have power? And is power actually worth it? I love the fact that we have an adult fantasy debut coming out from Marie Lu, just because of the fact that I read her when I was in middle school, and now I'm getting the chance to read her again as an adult, and I just enjoy, and I've said it before, I love the full circle feeling of falling in love with authors when you're young and getting the chance to grow up with their books, and as you continue to grow up yourself. This was addictive. I loved it, and I really loved the cliffhanger that you are left on, because you are just getting the foundation. This is supposed to be a trilogy, and the fact that you are just getting the foundation of what makes everybody tick. You are seeing only the beginning sides of the issue when it comes to alchemy and the syndicates, and really what this rival is all about. When it comes to the world building and it comes to alchemy, it wasn't fully fleshed out, and I feel like there's still more of a chance for you to dive into it, and I'm going to hope that we are going to see that come the following books. And when it comes to the politics, it was just initially brought out. It was sprinkled in there that there's so much more to this world than what we are already seeing. And I loved at the end that you were finally getting the chance to realize this and witness it. And it makes it so much better, because you have so much more to look forward to. This book was all set up for what is going on in the future. I can feel it already, and now I need book 2, and book 1 technically hasn't even come out yet. A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is the first book in the Scholomance trilogy, and it is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. This takes place at the Scholomance school, a deadly school that is literally trying to kill its students, and its students are also trying to kill each other. You have Elle, who is your protagonist, and she hates your other protagonist, Orion Lake, so much. She hates the fact that he is perfect, and the fact that he keeps trying to save her life, and has saved her life now twice, when he should just kind of leave her alone. When it comes to the Scholomance school, survival is key, because literally the school is trying to kill you, and the only friendships that you are making are ones that are strategically made. You don't have teachers. The classes are meant to teach you either to live and survive, or you are going to die. Monsters are literally around every single corner, but Elle is not concerned, because she has a power strong enough to destroy them, but the catch is she might destroy everyone at school as well. This is a dark academia, and the fantasy world that you're going to be living in when it comes to magic feels like a school. The fact that you just don't have magic, you actually have to learn, and it's more based in science than it really is based in fantasy, and I loved that aspect to it. But it is very intricate and can be difficult to follow along at certain times, but I think when you actually take a chance to breathe, really take it in and understand what's going on, you realize how genius it actually is. When it comes to the books that I am hoping to read this fall, these are the 5 books. Yes, some of them are series, but we're gonna say 5 and an asterisk. Books that I'm hoping to read this fall. We're gonna start off with The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I don't actually remember what this series name is. I just know that everybody loves it. I actually have no clue what this series is actually about. I just know that the first 2 books were published and the 3rd book probably never will be, and that is part of why I have been refusing to even pick it up. But I am hanging up my grudge of a book that I haven't even read yet, and I've decided I'm actually going to read it because I do want to read it. It is one that I have been eyeing for such a long time, and I don't actually know anything about it by any means. I just know everybody loves it, and that's enough. The Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is the 3rd trilogy in the realm of the Elderlings. I have loved the first 2 trilogies so much. The Live Ship Traders is one of my favorite trilogies now of all time, but I love Fitz so much. I really want him to have a good day, and that is all I'm really going to say, but I have a feeling he won't have a good day, but I'm hoping that's what he does. The Blade Itself and the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I've heard fantastic things about this trilogy. It's another trilogy that I haven't read yet, don't know anything about, and have just heard great things about, so I am expecting it to be good. I read The Devils by him earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny, and I really loved the grim, dark nature to it. It was a Suicide Squad with magical beings, and it just was so entertaining. I know a lot of people have this trilogy in their favorites of all time, and it's another one that I really just have been wanting to read, have been holding off, but it's on Kindle Unlimited and I own the entire trilogy, so I really don't have an excuse to why I haven't read it yet. Plus, I met him earlier this month and he signed to this book. I lied and I told him I loved it, even though I hadn't read it. When They Burned the Butterfly, this book has been compared to the Greenbone Saga when it comes to the gangs and the rivalries within it. It takes place in Singapore in 1972, where it is newly independent, and the gangsters here are the last conduits of the gods. Adeline has never needed anything more than the flames at her fingertips, but when her mother dies in a house fire and a butterfly is seared on her skin, she decides that she is going to enact revenge and track down the girl that she saw in a back alley with a butterfly tattoo on her. But she realizes that this is more than she bargained for, because that girl was a red butterfly. It turns out that Adeline's mother was actually leading a double life and was the elusive patron, Madame Butterfly, of the fire goddess, and now Adeline, the last of her bloodline, is the sole person that is keeping this goddess alive. It is a sapphic fantasy that is fueled by vengeance and revenge, but also ambition and power, and I have heard great things about it so far, and it has been a book that has been on my radar for months. Birth of a Dynasty is another book that I've had on my radar for a while that I'm finally planning on picking up. This recently came out, but I have seen so many stellar reviews for it. It is the first in a new epic trilogy, and so many people have been raving about it. It is full of intense political intrigue, rich world building, and 3 families as they vie for control of power, where blood is currency, magic is feared, and prophecy holds the most sway. It's another book that is full of vengeance and revenge, and I just feel like this entire fall theme for my TBR is vengeance, and I can get down with that. The real hope here is that I hold myself accountable and I actually read the books that I want to read on my TBR, and I will hold you guys accountable in reading some of the books that I recommend. There are quite a few that are coming out this October that are new, but they are so good and I cannot help but recommend, and you should definitely have it on your radar. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys again next week.